Good morning, Unity of Payson.
Good morning.
And I hope that those of you who have joined us virtually are saying good morning as well. We are still being cautious here in Payson, so there are not so many of us in the room here today, but we're delighted for those who are here being cautious, and delighted for those of you who were able to join us online. So would you take just a moment to join me in an opening prayer? Quietness, we say, God of all goodness, we are so blessed. And we are grateful, and it's from gratitude that we're able to express the response to that blessing. So we focus on our gratitude this morning. We appreciate the grace that is extended to us, the divine grace as a part of the very nature of creation. Grace to each and every one. So as we join together this morning, I am grateful for each who are here with us, each one a divine expression unique in the way that they are very unique, but blessed with divine gifts that come to us and that we share. So as we meet together and consider the topic of grace this morning, we are grateful, and so it is. And now we have our opening song. We have some new technologies going here. Our TV is mounted on the wall here in our meeting space. And we switched out a song this morning because one of them wasn't working well technically. And the song is one that many of you are familiar with, Love Is My Decision.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision. My decision, right here and now.
Now that was bad. I have no idea. It just went away. All right, I can try and start it again. All right. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision. My decision right here and now. Well, sorry.
We'll read the words to it.
Yeah, for that, so welcome to Unity of Payson, everybody on the line and everybody here in person. Oh, we're glad that we could, you could meet with us, Ron. And if you happen to be new and you're online, if you could either leave your information in the chat or go to unityofpayson.org and leave us your contact information. We would love to hear from you. And send you the Monday email so that you know all the activities that are happening. And we invite everybody to stay after for a little bit of meet and greet. And so, whether we are here for the first time or our regular, let's bless each other and anybody else that still is looking to find us together. We love you.
Love
you. And now we have gratitude, where we have a lot to be grateful for. Thank you, Rick, for acquiring new equipment. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Because I forgot to turn the microphone back on. They hear me online?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we're grateful for the technology as we continue to work out the bugs. And for the events this last week, we had morning cafe, the cards and games over at Kay's house, that's on Thursday. And we also had the writers group on Thursday evening, late afternoon, and the Qigong with Teresa. And so Unity is grounded in affirmative prayer and in meditation. That's what the Fillmores used to get Unity started, thanks to Myrtle. And so we have trained prayer chaplains. If you have an issue that's sort of heavy on your heart, don't hesitate to reach out. We hold them sacred and confidential for 30 days. And then Donna sends them on to silent Unity for there for another 30 days. And so you can send your prayer requests to neil.unityofpayson@gmail.com. And if you are here in person and need prayer support this morning, don't hesitate to tap me on the shoulder after service. And so today's theme, or actually this month, is ease and grace. I walk my spiritual path with ease and grace. And today's speaker is our own Rev Neal Worthington, and his talk title this morning, Grace, a Gift for Everyone. And today's daily word goes along with that nicely. And it is holy. Let's say the affirmation together. I discover holiness
everywhere and in everyone.
There are some places I visit. The presence of God feels especially near. Places that feel holy. These may include churches and other houses of worship, shrines, favorite places in nature. That's definitely mine. Any destination where I become vividly aware of the divine presence, it is holy ground. I remember these words from the Prayer for Protection by Unity poet James Dillett Freeman. Wherever I am, God is. The divine presence I know lives within me. It is the true essence of my life and of every life. Today, my understanding expands. I discover the divine presence all around me and find holiness everywhere. Every person is a holy being. Every place is holy ground. And from Genesis, then Jacob woke from his sleep and said, surely the Lord is in this place. And I did not know it. So how many of us forget that God is everywhere in all circumstances? And now we have our message from Reverend Neal.
There's a story that comes out of the American South. It goes something like this. There was an older fellow who was looking to join a church. And there was a church in his community, and he decided he wanted to join that church. He went to the church and found the church to be very kind of strict, kind of structured. Things happened just so. As he looked in the door, he couldn't help but be himself. And he burst through the door, jumping and shouting and praising and up and down the aisles. And he was just excited. He had a lot of spirit in him, and he was letting it go. Well, they tolerated it for a minute, and then the ushers kind of came and tried to subdue him, but he'd somehow get a hand free and he'd still be praising. Or a foot free and he'll be trying to leap and dance. Well, they made it through that Sunday morning, but made it clear to this gentleman that they really didn't want to see him again. But they thought they better take care of it a little more officially than that. So these fairly staid leaders of the church decided to give this fellow, whom they found out his name was Shouting John, give Shouting John a visit. So they went to his farm. It was a rural community. And they found him out there behind his mule, plowing. Found out he was 86 years old. Here he was out plowing. And they told him, I'm sorry, but we have our service set in a particular way, and we really don't want to disturb everybody, but we're going to ask you not to return to the church if that's the way you have to be. Shouting John said, I've got this land that you've come across to get here. You come in your fancy cars and whatever. I don't have one of those, but I've got this land that I am so grateful that I can't help but praise. I can't help but shout and leap. And I've got 4 children. And they're all healthy. And they've got children. I got grandchildren. I can't even count how many. And I am so grateful that I can't hold it in. And I got my farm. I am so grateful. Well, they insisted that maybe he would better be served not to come to church. It says because there you can't jump and shout and leap and praise like you were. It just doesn't fit. So Shouting John said, well, hold my mule. I'm gonna be shouting and leaping and praising right now. Hold my mule. Well, very obviously, Shouting John had experienced blessing, and he was grateful, and he was set on praise, and he just couldn't hold it in. Well, we're going to get into that a little bit today, because that's part of the grace that Shouting John experienced, and we're going to talk about that and our response. So I always like to do definitions. I go to Merriam, the librarian, and I figure out what the definition is, and I'll go to the Revealing Word, which is one of Unity's source books written by Charles Fillmore, one of the co-founders, that really helps us to understand the meaning beneath some of the words that we use. So let's look at the meaning of grace. It's kind of an enigmatic term. Anybody, you can answer if you're online. I might not hear it, but anybody here know a quick definition for grace? Say it out. What would be? Blessings from Spirit. one that I grew up with is unmerited favor. Well, if we look at it a little more deeply, favor is very much a part of that. Goodwill is very much a part of that. Grace. But it's not unmerited. We know that we're all expressions of the divine. We know that we are one. We know that we're all connected, that the divine lives in and through us. And all that is true of the divine is also available to us. So I don't like to call it unmerited favor. I like to call it unconditional favor. We are all blessed. And today we're going to talk about this grace, what it means. We're going to talk about receiving that grace and then expressing that grace. There are a couple other definitions that I really like. One comes from Won Buddhism. Won Buddhism is a school of Buddhism in Korea that originated in Korea. And it goes beyond the idea of unconditional favor, unconditional love, and it expands to the oneness that we're talking about. Here's what the Lion's Roar, which is a website, contemporary website from Buddhist website. It says this: Won Buddhism teaches that we can develop a sense of gratitude. Did you notice that word gratitude? We started with talking about that. For everything good and bad by studying the interconnected nature of life. Goes on to say, all Dharma teachings are based on and lead us to a realization of this interdependent nature of reality. This realization that all phenomena are woven together enables us to live a life of infinite wisdom, joy, and compassion for all. And isn't that the kind of life? Well, it's the kind of life I'd like to live. Wisdom, interdependence, compassion for all. So let's talk about grace being offered to us. And everyone, grace is offered to you and everyone, not just you. Of course, we have your blessings, all of the things that really support and enrich your life. The rain that we're getting, what a blessing. But grace is more than just a laundry list of blessings. It is, in fact, the very nature, the very fabric of our existence. Grace is given in every situation for us. Grace is available in every situation as expressions of the divine, having the Christ within us. We always have access to whatever we need, whether it's material blessings, whether it's health, whether it's something in the relationship area, that's always available to us. And we so often forget. And we try to fix it otherwise before going within to know that the resource is there for us. Did you ever hear anybody say, there but for the grace of God go I? Well, you might have said it yourself. Well, it's kind of a nice sentiment, but I'm going to pick a bone with it. When I say there, but for the grace of God, I'm probably looking at someone else or some other situation that maybe is someone in need or someone who's struggling with life in one way or another. And the idea behind that, when we say that, is that somehow I'm favored and they're not favored as much. Yes, I've been a little better. I've done well. I've said my prayers. I've attended church. I've meditated. And probably that person maybe didn't do that. Well, the truth of it is, being all one, that grace that provision for every need, whatever it may be, is available for me and you and every person we meet in equal measure. No one is slighted. Perhaps they have erred in some way, made some mistakes that put them in a difficult place. The grace, the divine grace that is and is within us is available to each and every one of us. There's a scripture in Matthew that talks about this. It's kind of an old language that talks about God as Father, talks about evil, but it has a truth in it, and I want to share it. It's this: your Father in heaven makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the righteous and on the unrighteous. So you're special, but everybody else is special too. You not more than anyone else. We are woven together, as that Buddhist saying taught us. We are woven together, and in that weaving, the all-encompassing, all-available grace that's there seeps into that weaving together. We are one. Grace is a gift for everyone. And grace is, and I like to think of it this way, been thinking about it this week. I hadn't really thought of it before. Grace is unconditional love for everyone. Unconditional love, we talk about that in terms of, well, I have unconditional love for you, or someone had unconditional love for me. But it is the very nature again of creation. The divine that surrounds us, that is within us, gives and gives unconditionally, without respect to who we are or what we've done. Unconditional love. That's grace. It's offered to everyone. If I put it in a few words and sentences, it would be this: grace is a gift that's offered to everyone. And then goes on to say, but it must be received. And that's what I want to talk about next. Unless grace is received, it's of no benefit to us. It's a great resource, but unless we really receive it, it's of no benefit to us. And it doesn't pass through us to anyone else either. So you remember the instructions by flight attendants that say, if we lose air pressure and the oxygen mask come down, take care of yourself first. It's almost like that oxygen mask is a source of grace. We could make the parallel, and we get it first, and then perhaps we help someone else to get it. But unless we receive it, we're not going to be very good at helping anybody else, let alone ourselves. So the challenge is, of course, to receive the grace that's there. Acknowledging it. So easy to just get caught up in our day, and we don't acknowledge the many small graces that are there for us to receive. We don't acknowledge the underlying grace resource that's there for all of us. We don't acknowledge it, and when we don't acknowledge it, we somehow are not open to it. And we go bereft of it. We don't receive it. Openness of mind and heart required. And then, like shouting John, how about letting that grace well up within us? How about letting that spirit expressed in the grace be enlarged within us? And you may not be like shouting John, you may not be leaping and shouting, but you have your own unique way of expressing that. So when you're filled up with grace, then you're ready to move on to the expression of grace. But you have to receive it. You have to acknowledge it and receive it. And then on to the expression part of it. Well, you've seen people or known people that were gracious. That's a term that kind of comes from the word grace. I remember my great aunt lived in Corning, New York. Used to visit occasionally. She was such a gracious woman. Actually, her name was Aunt Grace. It was an appropriate name. There was always going, and it was so exciting to go in the refrigerator, and she had this glass container filled with fresh water, and you could get cold drinking water anytime. We didn't have that at my house. It was always there. And there was always peanut brittle or seasonally ribbon candy in a dish. It was always there. And when you came to her doorstep, there was a profusion of morning glories surrounding the doorway. She was so gracious. But expressing grace may be a little bit more than just graciousness. It may be allowing that grace to flow through us, that grace that we have acknowledged and received. It may be kind of like shouting John, an expression of praise. I kind of got onto that. Praise is kind of didn't like the word. And I thought I would look into it a little bit more. And I really liked the definition of praise in the praise in the revealing word. And it gave it a new meaning for me. And praise, using that power of praise, has a special effectiveness when we look at it this way. And here's what the metaphysical meaning of praise is: the quality of mind that eulogizes the good. The purpose of praise is to awaken in ourselves a higher realization of divine omnipresence and power. Praise as well, changes man, not God. So that when we get that filled up with that grace, then we're ready to let it out in our own unique way. I'll figure out how to deal with it if some of you come in here jumping and shouting praise. But I really challenge you to find your particular way to get filled up with grace and let it express through you. So, how do you do that? Even in difficult circumstances, even when things aren't going right. Well, I'm going to suggest a couple of simple ways of how to do that. How to let your gratitude out. Remember, it all goes back to gratitude. And here it is. Be grateful and be grateful out loud. Some of you I know have a gratitude practice. Donna and I do every night. Donna said last night, "Oh, man, I'm hot. I just want to go up and retire and relax and put the fans on and cool off. Can't we do gratitude maybe tomorrow morning?" And I said, no. Because that gratitude practice is so important to me, not merely to let gratitude be in my consciousness, but to speak it out loud. So I suggest that you let your gratitude come into your awareness as often as you can, but that you speak it out loud. Do you ever, when you're walking down the street or when you're in the grocery store, or maybe even on the golf course, say, "I'm so grateful that," not just letting that gratitude out. That's an expression of grace. And then how about praising? You know, we're interesting creatures, us humans. We respond really well to praise. Somebody praises us, kind of gives us a little bit of juice. So let's get in the habit of praising. mean praising to a male god up in the clouds, or somebody maybe who decides to give you a miracle gift at some point and doesn't decide to do that at other points. I mean, how about praising everything that we see that's praiseworthy? So I suggest that you see if you can develop a praise practice. Make a list of it this week. I found this opportunity to praise someone. See how long that list can be. See how, as the week goes along, you find yourself more and more into the habit of praising someone else, praising the divine, praising yourself even sometimes. So two things: gratitude and do it out loud. Develop a praise practice, and that'll bring you to a place of experiencing grace, receiving it, and then expressing it. So back to Shouting John. What a character. He was so over the top that everybody else was uncomfortable with him. But he was being absolutely authentic in that he had gratitude. He just couldn't stop from expressing gratitude. He couldn't stop from giving praise. It just controlled his body, and he danced and he leaped and he shouted. Well, you may not do the same, but I'd like to hear a story about your praise practice. So tell me that. Give it a try this week, and then tell me how it works. To know grace, to receive it, to express it. That's all it is.
As we prepare for meditation, our meditation song today is from Karen Drecker. I really love the music. You are the face of God.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Tu es l'image de Dieu. I hold you in my heart. Tu es l'image de l'amour. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Tu sei la luce di Dio. I hold you in my heart. Tu sei il volto dell'amore. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of love. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of love. Face of God, I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face. You want to keep going?
We'll stop it there. The decided to open our song. We're grateful. We don't know the reason why. Great. So let's take a moment now. Be quiet. Let's be quiet. Holy quiet. Gets down into your soul. Breathe. Let every care, concern, worry slip aside. We know the truth. That divine grace is unlimited and there for everyone. This time in quiet, knowing the truth. Grace is ours to claim and receive. This time of quiet, call to mind the blessings to start with. Take a little mental list. Those blessings that have showered on you in this last week. Then move on to your heart's desires, what you really want of yourself. Maybe you haven't seen it yet. Maybe you haven't experienced it. Now hear the truth. For each of those heart's desires, desires are ready to be met. The universe is just waiting to work for you to supply those heart's desires. The supply is there. It's like it's in a warehouse, as we've talked about before. Truth is this. Within that desire of your heart is the seed for the fulfillment of that desire. So imagine with me. First, as large as you can imagine. Your spot on this planet at this time. Zoom out into the universe. And the zoom never stops. You are part of and integral to divine universe. You're aware of the blessings you have. You're aware of the heart's desire. And now in the grandness of this universe, somehow there's a supply, like the oxygen tube, it's just feeding you, ready to be turned on if you will but receive it. Turned on to multiply the blessings that you know and to fulfill the desires that you have. Just take a moment to rest in the truth. Grace is infinitely available for all we need. See yourself receiving it, removing any block, making sure that life-giving tube is all the way open. It's your choice. And see yourself with those blessings and those desires that are fulfilled for you, welling up within you, grace being multiplied so that it comes out as love, as compassion, as care, as divinely inspired assistance. Having experienced this, you are completely you're filled up so much that you just got to let it spill out in the way that you need to. Grace, always available, ready for receipt, calling to be expressed. This truth. Let's bring our awareness back to this present moment. It's time as we open our eyes and here now. We are grateful. So it is.
Thanks, Rev Neal. I always love it when I take a few moments to connect with everything that is, to expand out into the universe like that. It makes me aware that there is no limit to the possibilities. So I love being in that state of expansion. So thank you. And now is time for our gifts and our offerings. Unity is very grateful for all of your gifts to support this ministry and outside charities that we tie to. And so in a moment, there will be a seat. No, we're not going to have an offering song today. Again, a little technical glitch. So if you're here in person, Rick is passing the basket. So let's hold our gift in our hands and just say our affirmation. Freely
And freely we receive. I'll back up.
Because couple of different ways. You can go to unityofpayson.org and go to donate. We also have something new, a way of texting a donation on Go Lively. And so you can see those instructions there. Okay. So we are really grateful not only for the givers, but also for those gifts. And allow that feeling of expansion to just use your gift to move out into your own life, to make that choice. And so let's say our dedication of offering.
Divine love through us blesses and multiplies that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. We are abundantly prosperous. We give thanks. Now let's see if I can do it.
Okay, we have a TV on the wall, we have a new computer, and all kinds of new fun stuff that we're all getting used to.
It worked. Morning.
Yep, it's not working now.
How do we have to-
I don't think we're gonna get it. I don't know why I can't bring it up, but I can.
Well, it was trying.
It moved along.
I think I can, I think I can. Isn't that whiz bang that you it rotates? So. And back around. Well, thank you, everybody that's here online and in person. Wait again. Get it turned toward us. That's okay, Tom. It's about right. Okay, so next week we continue on with the theme for August of ease and grace. And do we move to slides?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. And next week, Rev Neal will also be speaking. I'll take grace, you take ease. That sounds like a country western song. Ease. Okay. And so we're going to share a few announcements, but we always have lots of stuff going on. So please check your Monday email with everything. And for anybody new, give us your contact and we can send that out to you. So the regular activities, we'll go through those briefly. We have morning cafe Monday through Saturday at 9:30. Then we have the Qigong Tai Chi with Teresa Sunday and Wednesday at 4:30. Cards and games over at Kay's house. And so that's an in-person one. Thursday at 1. And today we have the gathering at Kay's. That's the second Sunday at 1. Those times are consistent through the end of the month here. And so today it's on chakra balancing, but we are already full. We have 12 people coming and that's all that we can accommodate in Kay's gathering room. So thank you all for the interest in that. I will be doing that one. And of course, we always have Janet Gardening down at Shanti Olmsted. And you can talk to Ram here in person if you'd like to go down and participate in that. And we're still trying to get together some in the future plans for the solstice that's coming up in September. So we'll let you know about that at Shanty Homestead. And let's see, we have A Course in Miracles with Reverend Neal on Tuesday, the 16th, August 16th, from 6 to 7:30. And that always meets the first and third Tuesdays. We have Highway Cleanup, which is the third Thursday, which this month is August 18th at 8 o'clock in the morning. So meet in the parking lot in front of Big Lots if you'd like to help Reverend Neal do that. And the prayer chaplains, we have our meeting Thursday, the 18th from 11 to noon. And Tom has another one of his Sunset on the Rim, Friday, August 19th from 6 to 7:30. And it says down here, sunset is at 7:08. So we always like to be there a little early so we can drum and visit and have a good time. So if you haven't been to one of those, I really invite you to come and share. That's a lot of fun. And now we have PS, remember?
So a couple of things. The CDC, as you probably are aware of, is loosening a little bit in terms of our safety and recommendations. So we'd love to see you. If you are not here in person, we will continue to be cautious, but we will gather and enjoy our ability to gather together. So we hope to see some of you as well that are not here yet today in person, see you in person again. One other thing, we are delighted to be hosted in this space by Payson United Methodist Church. And they have a survey going about events that they're asking, what would people like to have be a part of the church experience? And we're invited to participate in that survey as well. And please do take and fill out some of those surveys in person. If you'd like to get that, in your with us online, let me know. We're planning, eventually we're gonna get it scheduled to have a potluck together with Payson United Methodist Church. And we are just delighted with the relationship we have with them. Do take that little survey and let them know what you would like in terms of this, and we'll see if we can get together on some of that stuff. I think that's it. If you're here, it's time for our closing song. Let there be peace on earth. If you will stand, if you're here in person, and just grab somebody's hand. We don't have to necessarily make a circle. We're still going easy on that, but together we will sing that and then the prayer for protection.
Not going. A cappella?
Yeah.
Virtually, yeah.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that is meant to be with God as creator, family all of we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me, and this is the moment now. With every step I take, this is my joyous vow. I take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, yes, it begins walks with me. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God exposes us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power, and the presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Week.
And it was, oh,
Now,
Agree.
I don't know yet, we go back and go, with, what the big.
Well, and he was gonna give to Tom and
Great.